we're going to talk about the double lift. Now, the double lift is the most overused move in Magic, bar none. Maybe besides just like a pinky break or something like that, or spreading the cards. But nonetheless, I think that the majority of people do not do a double lift correctly, or at least attempt to make it look good, okay? And I'm not trying to trash anybody for doing, kinds of double lifts that look like a 3-year-old would do it. But all I'm saying is that we have to take a little bit more time for these easy moves and put more effort into it, because the easy moves and what you do on a day-to-day basis with every trick, right? Holding a break, spreading the cards, giving it a little overhand shuffle, doing these correctly and make them seem professional will make your overall performance, your overall effect seem more professional than stumbling with the cards and trying to get a break, riffling down and pinky breaking and thumbing down and all the other stuff that you've seen so many people do, right? You've seen it online also, and it's horrible. Okay guys, so here's the push-off double lift. This is how it should look. I show the top card as the 9 of spades, and I turn it back over, and the card magically changes into a different card. So obviously what's happening here is we're doing 2 cards at the same time, making it look like one, but there are ways to do it correctly and, in my opinion, incorrectly. So first let's look at the problems with it. A lot of the times you need a break under the first 2 cards to flip it over, right? And that looks like this, blah, 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 right? And you could even hear it. And then they're in this awkward position, sometimes from the side, even this is seen. And then they turn over the card, right? Maybe in this manner, maybe they turn it over and still hold the break here, which this is very, in my opinion, this is awkward. And doesn't feel natural. It feels like you're, why are you holding it in this weird position? So I don't like having the get ready, okay? The easiest way to get straight into it is to do a push-off. Now, pushing off 2 cards is the first thing that you're going to learn, all right? Pushing off 2 cards starts like this, by getting your hand position in the right way. At this point right now, there's different ways to hold the deck. You can straddle the deck like this with your pinky here. You can hold it just like that with your thumb across. You could hold it with your thumb here, okay? So the way that I do it is with my thumb here, because this is where I'm pushing it off from, not the middle. So the top left corner, not all the way in the corner, just below it, okay? And my fingers, my last 3 fingers, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky are on this side here. And also the first finger is here. And this doesn't really need to move much. It just stays on the deck like this, okay? Now I also bevel the cards a little bit in this direction to make it easy for me. That's gonna help with the push-off procedure, okay? So I just bevel it just like that a little bit. All right, now, first step is to push off and try to push off 2. You literally, this is the way that you start. Try to push off 2 cards, and this is gonna happen in the beginning. You're gonna get a mess, okay? And that's okay. The most important thing is to get this portion, if you see that it's coming off and it's not straight, the most important thing is to get this portion, the bottom left, into around this area of the thumb crotch, okay? So right about there, right? Where you would almost classic palm an item. I place the deck here, and then as I squeeze in, it automatically goes, and it goes about this area, all right? So from here, if I push, it's going to come off this way, and this will help in squaring up the cards, okay? So just in case, look, if they're off center, that's because they're not here, right? It's very hard to keep them together while you push off 2 cards if it's not pivoting off of something, at least in the beginning. Okay, so from the very first push, you can see that it pivots off right here. Okay, that's step number 1. Now, step number 2 is obviously to not push, you would think, is to not push over more than 2 cards. Okay, because the whole point is to push off 2. I want to say that this is not entirely true, because from the first step, I'm going to push off, try to push 2. Now, if you do push 3, that's fine. We're going to show you just in a bit how you can actually use it to your advantage if you do push off 3. But now, the third one is pushed over, okay? So at this point, I have 2 cards right here pushed off, and I have this one, the third one, also pushed off, okay? Now, in the first second of the move, you're going to square everything up and clean everything up as these fingers come. Now, these 3 fingers here play a big part, okay? Because these 3 fingers, what they're going to do is they're going to take whatever's extra, so in this case, it's that third card, and put pressure on it so it doesn't push off more, okay? So you see that, all right? So that helps in not pushing off more. Look, right at this point, look, 4 are pushed off. I use these 3 fingers as a squaring up technique where I take everything back and I square it back on and only leave these 2 as far as possible, okay? And you're pushing with this part of the thumb, okay? Now, this part of the thumb right here is your skin, all right? Right in between where you think your thumbprint is and your nail ends, okay? On the left side of the nail. Nail, thumbprint, right in between is this part, okay? Boom, right there. And that's what you're going to use to push it off. Don't try to put your whole thumb on it, just the smallest piece right there. And I could actually feel my nail a little bit on the card, okay? Put pressure all the time. It's pivoting on this, and now we're going to take the card and turn it over, all right? At this point, to turn over the card, there's a few options. My favorite way of doing it is to come here, take the card, and literally give it a bend, just a little bit of a bend, and have the card turn over just like that, and have it square up, okay? I'm going to do the exact same move again. As I'm talking, as I'm chatting, the first move happens, and I take a look right here. I can see that I'm pushing off the first 2, pretty nice and tight. This hand will come here to square everything up, okay, just in case, all right? And this is covering everything, and I push it off while I tilt just a little bit with my hand, okay? So I'm talking, I'll do this from the beginning. I talk. As I'm ready to do the move, look, it's already done. I tilt up and I get that push off. I come here, use my thumb to bend just a little bit. That's going to keep everything together, and I square up and I let it flip over, blah, 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 blah. Hold out your hand or whatever you want to do, and now you're back to reversing it. Okay. Here, show the card, la, 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 and like that, okay? So that is the first way of turning over the card, okay? I would recommend that you learn this without trying to get a break after you first do the move. So after you first do the move, let's say you turn over the card just like this. A lot of the times you would want to turn them over and get a break over here, okay? My suggestion is maybe that's good in the beginning, but I think you should learn to do it without a break because you'll find it that much more easier when going into the move. Now, the second way to turn it over is with the ring finger and the thumb grabbing the card just like this and turning it over here. Now, this has an advantage, at least for the people thinking that, oh, the second time I have to get a push off again. What you can do is push it off just like this, pivot, and square everything up. At this point, right before you're turning, you're squaring. This finger squares here. It pivots on this, so that creates a center point of where it's twisting from. And I don't go all the way out here. I just come here and then I turn it over this way. And now I hold it between the first finger and the thumb of the left hand, out jogged, or rather side jogged this way. At this point, it's very nice because you don't need a break or anything. I can talk, show the card, and turn it back over, push it off. This is what we want to avoid. Riffle, get a break, hold it there. You can see that the break starts to show here, and then I go into it, turn it over, hold a break. This is very constrained movements, and you want to be free and relaxed with this. Okay, so it's all free movements. I do this, that little bend really helps. And one more thing that I want to add to this is that sometimes you want to, on purpose, push over 3 cards. So it looks like this. I push over 2, and then I go and I push over the third one, because it's going to look like I pushed over 2 by mistake and I'm only flipping up the 1. It's a nice psychological touch. So I do this, and you can see how 2 are pushed and then 1 is pushed over just like that. So I do this, and then very softly turn over the card. I do this, and then I pull back that third one, which is going to look like the second one. Okay? So here, 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 and you have the move. Alright guys, so there you have it. That is my take on the push-off double lift. The point of this video is to try to get, as a community, our sleight of hand more natural and more fluent when we do easy moves. So hopefully this was a step forward. In my opinion, this is what we should all strive for. So if you liked the video, please do hit that like button, subscribe to my channel because there's more tutorials coming up on moves like these and advancing to card tricks, to mentalism, to theory, to anything that you can name.